1950s are seen by many as the golden age of education, a time where hardship and discipline not only made kids learn, but also instilled them with the moral values that had shaped the British Empire. Now, 30 teenagers are going back in time to experience 1950s education for themselves. They'll face the grueling syllabus and harsh regime that dubbed the 50s the last Victorian decade. But will they be tough enough to cope? 4 weeks they'll live here at King's Grammar School, refitted to reflect the basic living conditions of the 1950s. From old-fashioned classrooms to uncomfortable dormitories, these 21st century teenagers will study O-levels as they endure the punishing conditions of school life in post-war Britain. The school is staffed by professional teachers, many of whom were themselves pupils in the 50s. We will all stand for the headmaster. Thank you. Sit down, please. One of austere living conditions and of basic food, of difficult lessons and of honest hard work. You will face monumental challenges, both mental and physical, over the next 4 weeks. Once you go through those doors, the only way out is by completing your O-levels. We shall see what you are really made of. I now ask the students to stand.
Only wish you the best of luck.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would ask the parents and friends to sit down, please. Mr. Perry, will you take the boys and girls out, please? In the coming weeks, they'll endure bland food, disciplinarian teachers, and life exactly as it was in the 50s. While they will suffer a range of strict punishments, the only thing they won't get is the cane. It was made illegal in the late 1990s. In the 1950s, education was all about separating the wheat from the chaff. Everyone sat the dreaded 11+, and only the 20% who passed had the chance to go to grammar school and take O-levels. Grammar school pupils at schools like King's received the best state education available. They stood a good chance of going to university, and for the men, on to white-collar jobs.
2 pairs of shoes, 1 blazer,
Miles,
brochure, blazer and shoes.
the transformation into 1950s pupils is underway, and it's time to pick up the new school uniform they'll wear the next month.
And the only people who should be talking in this room are the people handing out the uniform, and absolutely nobody else.
Thank you. Have we only got 1 pair of knickers? Fine then.
The first teacher they fall foul of is Latin master Simon Waugh. He spent all his life working in schools.
Doctor did say the only people talking were herself and the people behind her. You vaguely disregarded what she said and you just carried on talking. Is there anybody here who doesn't understand plain English? Please step forward if English is your second language and you're not sure. Therefore, there is no excuse. Please be silent. Here are your beds. Stand by a bed.
You go in the corner there. You go here, please. You will now take off every single modern thing you have on you, including your jewellery.
Have you been to London or Oxford Street? I'm addressing you. Have you been to the Oxford Street in London? You seem to have rather a lot of shopping there.
That bloke is a complete bastard. As they did in the 50s, they'll make do with a bare minimum uniform. There are just 2 shirts, a couple of pairs of pants, 1 pair of trousers or a tunic and a blazer, to be worn at all times.
Bet you those shoes won't fit.
So high school shoes with a heel like this big.
You must be a 1950s pupil right down to...
The transformation into 1950s pupils is complete. They'll look like this for the next 4 weeks and be known as Class Upper 5A. During this time, they'll be expected to maintain the highest standards of integrity and adopt a stiff upper lip attitude to every challenge ahead.
Big smiles, pretend you're enjoying yourself.
Will they be tough enough to cope? To hide their toiletries.
Just put on the floor. And she oh my god,
Why didn't you stand up? I just entered the room. Now look, we've got to get this right. Please. Now sit down. Now, forms of address. I am Sir or Mr. Perry. There will be times when you want to say, yes sir, because it's a mouthful to say it, Mr. Perry. But there are times when you really want to draw my attention to something, or perhaps I have drawn your attention to something when you want to be just that little bit more sharp, more formal, when you will use a member of staff's full name. If you're walking around the school at any time and you do have your cap on and you pass the headmaster or myself or matron, please touch your cap. Just touch your cap as a sign that you acknowledge a presence. The member of staff may well speak to you, but
Pat Crow is a real-life matron and a larger-than-life character at King's School. From tomorrow, each morning will start with one of her dreaded inspections.
I am matron. It is my responsibility to send you to school each day looking immaculate. Please be warned that I give a penny fine for dirty shoes. Some of you look like ragamuffins. I'm going to show you how to make your bed. Watch carefully.
In 50s boarding schools, matrons were sticklers for hospital corners and precision-made beds, something entirely alien to the 21st century duvet generation.
That is how your beds will look tonight. As I lay me down to sleep, I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. Amen. Sleep well, expect to be woken early in the morning. Good night, guys.
It's 7 a.m. and the kids' first wake-up call.
Come on, girls, please. Up, up, up.
Good morning, Nelson Dormitory.
You would not enjoy detention. Now come along.
So, off we go. Start of another day.
Just look at this room.
Wakey wakey. Inspection, 7:30.
Open the windows, please. Very, very smelly in here.
The kids will get even smellier. In the 1950s, boarders were normally only allowed one bath a week.
Tap running.
They'll have to get a move on because matron's on her way.
What's this? Fasten it properly. Look. And you're flying your skirt open, for goodness sake. Lift it up and do it properly. Please.
This is very baggy. Don't like this.
Crinkly beds. Crinkly beds, I can... Don't you sit on that.
Proper lesson. Maths. 1950 style.
Sit down. Right. Welcome to Kings. Our first lesson together. My name's Mr. Peace. Expect to be doing long multiplication and long division aplenty. And so to that end, we'll just have a quick warm-up now. Everybody now, grab their writing tool. In my case, this piece of calcium carbonate. Right, folks. 217 times 19, long multiplication. Everyone do that now.
Maths in the 1950s was a far cry from today. Then it was slide rules, log tables, and calculus. Pocket calculators were just a gleam in some inventor's eye.
What's your answer, my friend?
4023.
4023. Do you concur, madam?
No.
4023 is not good enough for you. What about you? The body...
It's dinner time. Today, most schools provide a choice of menu, including pizzas, pasta, burgers, and vegetarian options. But back in the 50s, it was a very different story.
For what we are about to receive, may the Lord make us truly thankful.
Food rationing began in the Second World War, wasn't abolished completely until 1954.
For what we have received, may the Lord make us truly thankful. Amen.
So everybody starts on the first note. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Unlike today, in the 1950s, most children had a singing lesson at least once a week. The kids still don't know that the maths test they took earlier was a 50s exam for 11-year-olds. They're about to get their results as percentages.
Stop talking.
I was observing from the back the music lesson. All right?
Sir.
At least two of your club. I am talking to you. Do not look anywhere else. At least two of your class saw me, but you, who were bending down and doing one or two other things, and certainly were not singing all the lines, did not. And then I came in, and as you hadn't sang two of the lines, I said I thought you ought to give a rendering for the rest of them, didn't I?
Sir.
And then you started arguing, and then, when I said, are you arguing with me, you had the effrontery to answer me back, didn't you?
Sir.
Yes, you did. You do not answer me back, young man. Do you understand?
Sir.
If I say stand on your head, you stand on your head. I want something short and sharp for you, young man. You're obviously too full of yourself. Where's his PE towel?
In the changing rooms, Headmaster.
I don't want to hold up the lesson. I want him to have a shower now.
Cold shower, Headmaster?
Yes. Go outside. Wait for Mr. Daplin to join you.
Mr. Perry. What?
Be in a school like this. I ask you, were you talking?
Yes, sir.
Turn round, walk down to the wall, and stay there. If you think it's a joke, then you'll be joining others in here at 8:45 this evening.
You drew my attention to Nicola Greenhouse.
Yes,
Could you just explain why?
A negative attitude, a willingness to draw attention to yourself at every available moment, to make a great circus and a song of dance about everything which is required of you, which does not come naturally, and I use a strong word here, contaminating those around you.
Nicola, I noticed you at the meal as you were eating, and I noticed your behaviour, I noticed the way you were fiddling with your food. It is unfortunate you are the first girl whose name I know. At the same time, I thought you looked a reasonably intelligent and sensible person.
As you go into the shower, I will time 3 minutes. I will start my clock off. Fat cat, that's all.
The water is stone cold, but if the headmaster thinks a cold shower will persuade Joe Macready to toe the line, he's wrong. Macready is made of